Lurking while you're working. I love that. Keep lurking. That's interesting about the chalk artist. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure you're probably
Hi,
looking
Cajun.
for something special. So, when is the event again? When's Chalk Fest?
Oh, what's up, Scarlett? Good to see you. And Cajun, mother in New Orleans. Oh my God, these kids are such troopers. So needed, I know. The IRS enabling all of this. Thank you, Karen. Miss Janie, thank you. Can't hear me much. I think I'm just not being very loud right now, you guys. I'm gonna be screaming a lot. So, screaming at the IRS, screaming at the top of our lungs, what's going on? And we say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. IRS, what the fuck is going on? Exactly, we pay taxes and COS does not. Make it make sense, IRS Commissioner. Newsflash, they're not saving a world. They're not saving a world. Because you cannot save a world when you're enslaving kids. It's a contrary fact, IRS. Those two things cannot true at once. You're either saving a world or you're literally enslaving kids. Cajun, exactly. Kids cannot consent, not to anything that L1 Hover pitched. His pitches are triple, quadruple, hardcore, X-rated, not suitable at all for kids. It's just that simple, you guys. It's just not suitable for underage kids. You know, if the adults want to go and lock themselves up at the hotel and abuse each other and do all manner of horrendous things that they all think is amazing, you know what? No one's going to come and save you. You have to save yourself. But kids do not have the capacity to save themselves.
We're here. We're actually downtown. We just got off the freeway. We're heading over to the federal building down here. Serge is with me in the car. We're here to protest the IRS building today with a bunch of protesters. So have fun today, guys. We're here. We're protesting.
If you guys don't mind, hit the like button. Exactly, Karen. Thank you. So that we bring more people along with us to this protest to witness us speaking to the enablers of our predators, the IRS, who is in hot waters for aiding and abetting and incentivizing for everything that happens in those hotels. Whether they got scammed or not by Marty Rathbun, David Miscavige, and Mike Rinder, you know what, IRS people, miss us with your problem. Miss us.
Are you?
That's it, right?
We're here somewhere, right? Is this it here?
Jacob is already here, so that's the 300. No, it's 300.
Is that right there?
Yeah, 300.
You got it.
Looking for parking now, you guys, because yeah, downtown is a nightmare finding parking usually. We just passed Mocha with a mural that states, "Who is beyond the law? Who is beyond the law?"
I think I parked it because there's no meters. This fence stuff.
There's so much enforcement here, you can make a mistake.
They in the flat. No stopping bus.
It's weird that they close it.
We're just in a parking.
I don't know behind that people.
Where? She's leaving. She got a flash.
I don't think she can park there.
Yeah, I think she
Let's go forward.
Yeah, it's parked right where we did before. This is where I parked down here, remember?
She's going that way.
Well, this is where I parked before. We can walk from here. This is fine. So I parked here. So this is always a little trick trying to find a place to park because some of the places down here you can only park for a certain time, and we've got to look for a place that we can park without limits. So we do have to walk because even like some of the garages that are down here that we could park in and pay $30 to park in, you have to be out by a certain time as well. So, but we did. We just found parking. We're good from 2 to 8. Serge is drinking my drink. You ready?
Drink before you leave.
Okay, guys, we parked. Cars off. Went outside.
Yep, we're parked. Yay. Now, walk over there. No, I don't think so. I mean, I have.
Okay, I'm warm, so I don't think I'm prepared by that.
Okay, I have a battery. Here we go. Thank you for joining us on this protest, you guys. Every single one of your voices count.
Hi guys. So we're downtown LA right now. We're on our way to the IRS building. We parked in a safe space. You park anywhere you need to, because that's one of the most important things downtown. Make sure you find a place you can park in, or you'll get ticketed or towed. You're not in the building next to us.
We are at the walking towards the IRS building to protest them in downtown, you guys. Oh, little cute puppy. It's sunny AF in California. So we're protected against the sun rays, you guys, because it's very, very sunny out here. So we wanted to make sure we didn't. I hate getting the sun in my face, like straight on my face. Oh, really? I guess breaking news, right, guys? Breaking news. I'll have to catch it. Really? Well, you know what, guys? I mean, again, there's a lot that these adults have to reckon with. There's a lot that these adults have to reckon with. All Scientology parents, I mean, imagine you're a Scientology parent and you put your child in harm's way the whole time because you were following the advice of a convicted felon. Like, they are not in a good place. They're never going to be in a good place. They've already crossed lines that should have never been crossed, and it's a tragedy. And it's a tragedy to the degree that it continues. It's a tragedy to the degree that it doesn't stop. It's a tragedy to the degree that it continues to just be normalized, and they all have a lot to reckon with. You know, there's a lot of them that think that just because they walked out of a threshold of a hotel, all of a sudden everything is wonderful, and they get to just pretend that they were victims the whole time. You know what? That's not how it worked inside of those hotels, and it's high time for them to come to terms with the reality and not the delusion, and really start looking at who are the real victims getting ensnared. Because as adults, they can claim to be victims too. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard defrauded all of them, but they don't get to, ask for special treatment out of the burning hotel they got themselves into, given the fact that they brought children with them. And that's why this is the most important issue to bring to the forefront, because what we're telling the IRS is kids cannot consent. Kids cannot make those choices. L. Ron Hubbard's rhetoric is triple X rated, hardcore AF. So no child should be ever approached on being exposed to that rhetoric. The courses, the audits, the ethics handlings, none of that is appropriate for children. None of it. None of it. And all Scientology parents expose their kids to that for hundreds, thousands of hours of that abuse. And, they're not repudiating it. They're not calling themselves out on it. They're playing the victim. And the problem is, if you were the adult, you should have done something about it. And if you didn't do something about it then, you should be doing something about it now.
I say exactly to do something about it. If you were in there, and you were an adult.
It's like nothing changes if nothing changes.
Now you're out.
Like, nothing's gonna change because nothing has changed. So we're still stuck at the same exact place we were when we were there. And that's just completely unacceptable.
To allow your kid to get trapped inside of this cult, and then you decide you want to get out, and then you come out and you're like, oh, everything's fine.
You had a hair appointment.
I see so many of these Scientologists, and I've get some guys except for the fact just come clean. You know, don't go, oh, I was put in a hole, I was beat up. Come on, you're an adult. You're not a kid that can't consent. So here you're this adult that you've chosen to actually be inside this cult and be treated this way. Figure out. That's what I want to know. If you're not pointing at yourself, you need to stand in the mirror and away from the voice and point at yourself or speak to yourself. You were responsible for letting me in here and allowing me to stay in here this whole time. I've been put in the hole, I've been beat up, and oh my God, I can't believe I've been treated this way. Get off your ass, do something about it, speak up, and have a real voice that's going to make a difference. Because this, like, for me, I'm an adult. I signed up for this, but oh, I don't know what I signed up for. Your two adult feet walking you in there, which means your two adult feet will walk you out and make the adult choice to be responsible for who you are. I get so frustrated when I see these parents that are inside Scientology, they've gotten out of Scientology, they come to the protest and they complain, for me, what happened to me? What about your kids? Oh, they're still in there. Why are they in there? Well, that's your choice. Like, it's your choice. You brought them there. Take full responsibility. I've had so many adults protest. They want to be buddy, friends. And I look at them and I have a conversation with them. And I could tell.
All right, you guys, I think here's the federal building. I have to look for Jacob now.
They're still complicit.
The
They
hell?
don't want to take responsibility. And why am I going to be friends with a person
Runnertology, you guys.
who stood there as
Runnertology.
you guys are posting all this stuff with my render and all this stuff. Wake up, guys. Grab a pair of handcuffs, put them on yourself, and say, I was guilty. Maybe you'll get some more positive ears towards your direction, but the rate you're going right now, it is disgusting and appalling to even hear you spill your bullshit with so many people in so many different ways. The right, the ability, and all this stuff you could have been doing for so many kids, but no. Okay.
Revoke Scientology tax exempt status. What's up? Hi.
Good to see you, Michael. Hey, mister. How are you? Good to see you.
Hey, sir.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
It's in Orange County, and here I am.
Yay. Thank you so much.
And I was just sharing some of the stuff I've got on the back of here. So on the front it says revoke Scientology's tax exempt status. Nice and simple. And then on the back side, I included a QR code which goes to Jeffrey Augustine's website. Oh, I think we might have somebody trying to get by. You trying to get by?
No, I'm the one who...
Oh, you're here for the protest.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
yeah.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for time.
Heck yeah, I love it. But yeah, here we've got a QR code as well as a bit.ly link which goes to Jeffrey Augustine's blog, and specifically the entry on how to simply and effectively report the Church of Scientology to the IRS. All of the information that's on here can be found at that link at Jeffrey's blog, but we've got all of the identification numbers, the tax identification numbers for all of the wealthy Scientology organizations, and then also some examples laid out of how Scientology uses tax-exempt dollars to, well, to carry out activities that are not in line with fundamental public policy. So yeah, figured that was what I could do as a little one-stop shop for documented abuses there. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Very good. Warm.
I love it. Glad to hear it.
So there you guys have it. This is Jacob down here.
That's right.
The federal building. We are gonna need. There's the cops over there. There's everyone chilling here at the federal building where the IRS agents are. The agents that are part of the network of people that have approved. Oh look, maybe we'll find a passport from a Scientology child right here. So we are protesting at the federal building of Los Angeles, North Los Angeles Street.
And once more folks are here, once we say time for more folks, there is a chance that we will. Sounds like a good day.
Yes.
An appropriate day to say on the Scientology tax.
You have a whole song for it, right?
That's right, that's right. Figured I would bust that out at some point. I always find myself having way too many things in my hands when I come to these things. That's the only downside about holding a sign is if I've got my phone in one hand and a sign in another.
I'll hold your camera while you sing.
Sounds good, sounds good. How about waiting until Laura arrives? Maybe say hey to some more folks.
Yeah.
We'll get there when we get there.
I called her, she didn't pick up. She said she was coming though.
She called me like a couple of minutes before I went live. She was like, "Are you live yet?" I was like,
okay,
"No, I'm about to go live though."
Okay.
She said, "Yeah, she should be on her way."
Cool. I hope she has a megaphone.
That would be great. I was trying to. I think the rules might be a little bit different when we're on a federal property or outside of a federal location about what. Or although they try to give us crap about amplified sound pretty much everywhere we go, so maybe it's not even different. I don't have one though. I was trying to scramble to see if I could find one of those like funnel megaphones that aren't actually electric to see if I could maybe get away with that easier, but we'll see. Hopefully, if Laura has one,
we'll put it on our Amazon wish list for next time, you guys.
Yeah, I still need to set one of those up. A lot of people have recommended that to me, the Amazon wish list, but that might be the move.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I do, but I really haven't ever used it. But I put something up there at one point.
Gotcha.
But
I think that's how Chris got that. It's a cult backpack.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. Oh, yeah, you want to see that again? Heck yeah. Yeah, feel free. Get all that information down. This is all that information that is going to be good to use when reporting Scientology to the IRS. It's got all of the wealthy Scientology organizations' tax identification numbers, as well as some examples of how they abuse their tax exempt status. I strongly encourage anybody who is watching to visit that link so that you can simply and effectively report the church to the IRS. Thank you, Surgeon Michael, for showing up to amplify these messages.
we have to amplify it, you guys. The enabling is happening from here. So, IRS agents, if you didn't know that you were enabling institutionalized child trafficking of minors on an industrial size scale, today would be the great day to have that cognition. Today would be a great day for y'all at the IRS to realize that at the very best, you're being used as complete and utter useful idiots. If you have no idea why there's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars getting reported to your organization under the guise that, you know, people are getting all manner of write-offs, apparently, incentivized to answer, including but not limited, have you committed a felony for which you have not been arrested? And then all of a sudden, they call up Amex and go, oh yeah, you know what, Amex? Let me charge $200,000 on my American Express. Because today would be a great day to have a Scientology program made about how I committed a felony for which I have not been arrested, data mined by including but not limited to a child, underage children such as myself, 12 years old, brought here from Mexico to really become an incredible spiritual what in the hell was I becoming, IRS? It's because of y'all that I got literally brought into this disgusting hotel scheme. Check back the type of agreement you made with David Miscavige, with Marty Rathbun, and with Mike Rinder about setting this up as a so-called 501c to really save a world. So I don't think any world is getting saved. I thought I was saving a world when I was a child, but you know what? I realized I wasn't saving jack shit.
What was your name again?
I was just literally being used as a pawn, as a child, as a honeypot, to normalize this for more kids, to bring more kids in. Debbie Cook, and you should really look up her name, is your Ghislaine Maxwell, IRS. So just so you don't have to play dumb, just so you can like get to your shit faster than you're doing, since you're literally doing nothing. At this point, you're doing nothing at all, IRS. At this point, you're just sitting there collecting receipts of, you know, all the very highly religious things getting paid out to, you know, Scientology because they're really going to save a world. You're outsourcing what exactly, IRS? What type of social betterment are they really all about? The whole idea of social betterment wasn't even L. Ron Hubbard. That was Marty Rathbun, Mike Rinder, and David Miscavige to scam it all around. Oh yeah, we really want to stop criminality, you guys. We really want to stop the drugs. We really want to stop illiteracy, you guys. Meanwhile, none of that shit goes on inside of the hotels. So you idiots fell for the stupidest, most fake pitch because you have no critical thinking skills, because you're just gullible as children. Apparently at the IRS, they're as gullible as children. Isn't that great, you guys? That the literal IRS is as gullible as if they were children. And they were just, you know, a little press that Mike Rinder and his OSA ops were running all manner of fake frivolous lawsuits to ensnare the IRS agents and to, you know, bring them to their knees so that, you know, Mike Rinder, David Miscavige, Marty Rathbun, all of their corrupt, disgusting wives could get what they wanted, their little child trafficking hotel chain. Because they were all so pressed to follow on L. Ron Hubbard's footsteps. Oh yeah, let's really do what a convicted felon does, because that's going to be really going to work out amazing for us, right? So here's the federal building standing on this, standing on allowing this to be done. And yes, revoke the fake tax exempt status that you've given these people because y'all didn't have a spine, IRS. And since y'all didn't have a spine, children got effed really badly. So that's on you, IRS agents, that didn't do a shred of due diligence when the fake pitch was brought to you.
Is there some sort of office we can go in there and just visit?
How much longer Laura? We'll see how long I have to wait for her. Maybe I'll just bust it out sooner rather than later. The other thing that I'd like to do at
It seems like we could go inside.
Chants going. Some kinds of
You can go and explore. Your door has the floor.
or just chants that we're all doing at the same time. I mean, just a couple that I kind of had in mind. So like,
I don't know if you can video record inside. That's the thing.
We'll see.
Just
and
ask.
then I was also featured like using some of the lyrics from the song to turn them into more of a chant.
Yeah.
The cult of Scientology, the cult of Scientology should not be a 501c3, should not be a 501c3.
Yeah.
Something like that. Just trying to brainstorm about potential call and response chants that we could have some fun with. once we got some more folks here.
Yeah, that would be good. I was looking online to see what is the IRS has a whole page about how to lose your 501c3 status without even trying or something, and I only got partway through and then I fell asleep.
It's all good.
But I would imagine that credit card fraud, trafficking children,
Yeah, this list that I've got here of the abuses that I do have listed out is not an exhaustive list. There's definitely plenty more things that could go on here, but we only have so much room on board of these dimensions.
Yes. Yeah.
But like I
So
said,
you guys are never in?
visit Jeffrey.
You're never in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of information there that it
So
will
nice
be
to meet you.
useful to anybody.
So nice to meet you. What was your name?
I'm Goosebump 801.
Oh, okay.
All of you guys.
Of course, yes.
I think it's important to be here and to me, the tremendous abuses and that they've gotten away with it for so long. It's astounding. I guess I'm just too much of a Pollyanna.
Well, I mean, again, it's like the abuses can continue to take place as long as nobody understands what they are. As long as it gets very confusing and nebulous, and no one was there, right? Like, we were there, we were born there, we were brought there, we had a front row seat at this dysfunction.
Yeah.
And it's been extremely unnerving that it is the year 2024 and nothing has really been called out, because it's been a whole campaign of just flooding the airwaves with all manner of information that doesn't get to the crux of the issue.
Yeah.
Right? So we can talk about a lot of things, but it's like, simplifying it down to the point of like, we as kids didn't consent to be in that environment.
Yeah.
And if parents put you there, and if what's going on in the environment is illegal, then it doesn't matter that our parents consented or they thought it was a great thing.
Right.
Like,
Right. So the parents of the children of God meet other.
this is what they have, right? But it's now up to us to ring that alarm, and to make the points we wish someone would have been making on the outside. But I mean, even if you wanted to make those points, unless you are part of that culture, then there's
nobody's listening, and it's not even. We don't even have jurisdiction.
right. It's not even real. Like it's everything. It's like again, and it's like these environments have been so insulated by design, right? So they're.
It's like you couldn't have designed it any better. It just completely fall off on all sides from all fronts, and then the gradual creeping, like this with the LAPD. Oh my God.
It's a decades long relationship.
Yeah.
They've worked hard to completely kneecap them.
Yeah.
So right now the LAPD works for them.
Yeah.
They are the juniors.
Yeah.
They answer up to the people that are there, and that's the problem with blackmail.
Yeah.
These people understand this is a KGB style operation. Blackmail. What did P. Diddy do? Blackmail. What does Epstein do? Blackmail. What does Scientology do? Blackmail. It's a profitable business for these people to have blackmail on other people, because that's how they wield undue influence.
Yeah, and the whole thing being set up just at the beginning, like, okay, tell us your crime. Like, nice to meet you. Tell me everything bad you've ever done. What?
And I always bring that example up because it's people go, well, they must not always ask for that. I mean, maybe the A to J interview is the first interview that Scientology will do to you before they accept you into any major service.
Yeah.
And the question is, have you committed a felony for which you have not been arrested?
Yeah.
So it's not a vague question. It's not no, it's like, have you done this? And imagine that they have children asking these questions of adults.
Yes.
And then if the child misses that the person committed a felony, and it comes up later, the child is the one at fault.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Jane Doe's, and that they were the ones who were punished for knocking on Ken Matheson. And I mean, and I know that this is a drop in the bucket of the hundreds and hundreds of people that have been abused and and
Well, but the
others
behavior is
reporting.
systemic, right? And it's like that example shows you how they handle everything else
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everything is being handled by these so-called policies and they have no critical thinking skills, right? L. Ron Hubbard made it illegal to criticize, to, hey, this is a little extreme here, let's tone it down. Who the hell do you think you are? You're not
Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just ridiculous that like the sycophants that they become, you know, so
Yeah.
obsessed with following the words of a convicted felon, you know. I mean, the problem with the term brainwash is that it takes away from their involvement. It's almost like no one came and took him over. Like, these people are making choices and decisions, and the brainwash, I feel, allows for this, like, oh, they had no idea. But the problem with this whole thing is that they're documenting it, they're transcribing it, they're video recording it, they're putting it in all these files. It's like there's no plausible deniability because the whole system called for recording it. So that's where you don't get this like, oh, well, many things could have happened and people were just acting crazy. Like it was like this like group corporate role play from hell.
Yeah, that's an excellent description.
Okay, so it's like a group role play, but it's all this like corporate terms and dispatch and give me this and give me that and give me the info, and all of these systems are what they go with to purport that it's all very valid and it's got a science to it, and you know,
Crazy.
the more they, and it's very much like Nazi Germany, right? Like they were writing down the names very carefully, everything was looking really polished, but there was no literal humanity left on the proteges that assisted with that whole extremist. Like that's what we're against. Like you cannot be an extremist. Like it's always gonna end up with you doing illegal stuff. Like nobody has tolerance for extremism. Like no, you don't deserve to be extreme. Like unless you're two consenting adults, then you know what? You agreed, you signed. No one's gonna come and save you from that. No one owes you that.
So I just wanted to jump in on what you said about there's nobody there. So I was watching Relatable Reads a day or two ago, and I love her. She's really great. So she was talking about how she had an epiphany. She said she called it a cognite.
Cognition, yeah.
Cognition, but yes. Anyway.
She cognited.
She cognited, exactly.
I mean, the words are still there. Can you imagine?
That she had been trained as an auditor, and so she had a conversation with Han Solo of the Lifeboat, in which she was interviewing him or something, and he was uncomfortable and wanted to stop, and signaled clearly that he wanted to stop, and she had this kind of, oh yeah, that's okay, I hear you, but let's keep going anyway, and that happened a couple times, and it suddenly hit her, I think in her therapy session, that this was a holdover from how she had been trained as an auditor to, oh, you're uncomfortable with the question about do you like to have sex with animals? Okay, I thank you for that. Now I'll repeat the auditing command. And just this has permeated her life in how she thinks. You know, only less than a year and a half out,
Yeah.
so you know it'll take time, but as soon as she realized that, she was like, oh, this is not acceptable. I want to fix it. I want it gone, like right now. And I think the time that it will take her to retrain her brain, where she was being interrogated at age 5.
Yeah.
Conditioning, exactly.
Grooming, you know, it's full-blown grooming. It's done on purpose. It's very systemic. Everything has a reason for it. Nothing is just for nothing, you know, like when we were, you know, I mean, the fact that you guys are now understanding, getting into the weeds of auditing, right? Because it's like, for so long, the Scientology understanding has been so glib. Oh, we heard it's a religion. And then the devil's in the details. Like, if you speak about it in these high terms, then you're not going to understand anything. And you can be in this, like, you know, plausible deniability land where, well, maybe this, maybe that. But, you know, to see people that are decompressing from all of these years of abuse, of normalized, groomed dysfunction, because, you know, being so young, we were around all these adults that all acted so confident, right? Like, all of that
I
makes...
don't know how many people I've heard say, I thought I was the only one crying in the bathroom, you know, in the middle of my...
Well, but it was by design because we were told you couldn't discuss your case with other people. So even if you went and told a friend, oh, I don't like it here, I'm having a hard time.
They would just write you...
Oh, this person is BI's report, bad indicators. I mean, imagine you are literally, you're just bad indicators. Like you telling me that you're not liking it is now you getting labeled. You are bad indicators. I would be going to you, the ethics officer, and saying, oh, look, she came to tell me she's bad indicators. And you're going to go, oh, we need to go do a handling on you. So the words are what creates the insanity, right? Because you're doing a handling. I'm calling her bad indicators. Like everything seems so, oh, what's the problem? Like we just call these things like that. But it's like the fact that me reporting her to you would have allowed you to then grab her and be like, you need to go write your overs and your withholds for 10 hours. You cannot move. And you're just there on your formative years. You can barely read and write. And these people are telling you need to write all these disgusting things. And if you don't write enough, they tell you to write more. It's just such a grotesque, sadistic abuse.
When did you wake up? How long ago?
So in 2015 is when I fully cut ties with everything. And it had everything to do with, you know, coming to terms in my middle age crisis. You know, my sexuality was the thing that would never work with the black and white programming of that. Because I always felt, well, there's something really wrong with me, right? Like, and all the LGBTQ kids that grow up in this, like, there's a special place in hell for us there growing with all of that. Because, like, the homophobia there is like, they're not scared of pedophiles. They're scared of homophobia. They're just like homophobic. That's the only thing they care about. So all of that contributed to me finally having enough independence in the outside world, you know, because my exit of them has been like my whole life has been getting less and less and less. I've always been walking away from it, you know, but it's been such a gradual way, you know, and that's the reason that we're protesting because, you know, I don't want Grant Cardone's daughter that's 14 years old to have to go to 35 and then have to make sense of her entire life. Like, it's not fair for those kids to be put in those positions, you know, and that's why I'm literally specifically covering her right now because she's been paraded around. Oh, she's going to give a speech. She's going to talk about this. She's going to talk about that. She was 10 years old when the first speech came out with her. And 4 years later now, it's like you still see that dwindling spiral of all of her innocence getting exploited.
Oh, I forgot to finish out what I meant to say about Reese, because we're talking about there's nobody in there. Reese also had the understanding that Scientology, its whole purpose is to suppress every tiny bit of individuality and create everyone as just this kind of robot that's going to do whatever the orders are. And they want everybody to be the same slave by robot. And once you know that, it really brought together things that I heard from so many other ex-Scientologists, and it's just insight into what I see in the various departments of the field. People like there is definitely not that. It's horrific to think that they think that this is the best thing for the planet. Oh, no more questions to try to get people thinking. If I can figure out what vehicles to buy, I want to do a little bit of auditing at the Twin Cities store because nobody's out there. And
Are you from Twin Cities?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm from Minneapolis. It's in St. Paul, so it's kind of a drive. I'm definitely not signing up to be there every day.
Yeah.
But I'd like to go and at least show how empty it is. I've driven by it a couple times.
I mean, that's what matters, right? Like, everything is baby steps and everything is just something, you know, like, nothing is going to change overnight. Nothing is going to change overnight. Like, this is a long road ahead of all of this. Like, this dysfunction took a lot of years to put in place.
Have you been speaking out since 2015?
So I first started speaking, at first I didn't want to speak out. At first I wanted to go through filing lawsuits and going to the police and outing all of this. And I went through all of those routes. Nothing happened, you know. What's that?
Your money just goes to the attorneys.
Well, the attorneys, like the civil attorneys, that's a whole other, like, you know. I wanted to go criminal. I went to the Clearwater police. I gave them the full benefit of the doubt. I was like, well, you know what? I knew. I mean, these people were a block away from the hotel. The police is like literally the hotel is here. The police is like there. Like it's not far, right? Like, so imagine being there, trafficked, having the police right there. Like we could have gone there anytime, right? But we would always hear stories like many minors would escape. And they would always be brought back to the police. And they would always be brought back to OSAD. Like, they have the whole entire wheel oiled.
Yeah.
Like, they're not interested in pulling the string and being mandated reporters and being like, we found a, 14-year-old from Russia running around the Clearwater beach. Like, those are the people, those were the kids that would continuously try to run away. But the punishments were so sadistic anytime any child escaped that it instilled fear in us. I couldn't escape. I just didn't have it in me I couldn't stomach it. I mean literally, yeah, like where would I even go? But yeah. Well, and again, it's like you get demonized over this. Like, even though my parents were not in the Sea Org, my parents would have said, you are out ethics, you broke the contract, you have a problem, you did wrong. I mean, it's always that. It's always that. But I mean, that's why I've been calling out the Scientology parents. They are the child traffickers. Without Scientology parents, there's no children involved. And as much as all of them have focused on David Miscavige, you know what? If you have no parents, you have no kids. And if you have no kids, we wouldn't be here. Because why? Why would we be here? Because what? Shelly Miscavige? Who the hell cares? She loves it in there.
Well, there's also Rosemary, Mike Brown's mom, and the elder abuse, the financial fraud. That also is incredibly disturbing to me.
I mean, it's such a double-edged sword because unfortunately all these elders have been there for decades doing the abuse, right? And then Scientology gets rid of them. The scars of them, like, ugh, you're looking too old. We don't want people to associate our brand with you. Scientology is a brand. They're nothing else. It's just a brand.
And a real estate company.
It's like a disgusting Soho house. Everyone's vetted. Everyone's been referred. They got approved, and they all think they're very special. The ones that are there. So the elder is a double-edged sword. Number one, they're the most of the most criminals because they've been there for decades, normalizing it all and bringing it to the forefront to where it is now. And then that other double-edged sword of, they get to that point where, my own grandma died of stage 4 cancer, breast cancer, because she was not taken to the doctor. So I've had to understand that my grandma was a groomer, she was a supervisor. Like, I became that because she was that, right? Like, your own grandparents are normalizing this for you. And as a child, you never want to think that your grandparents are evil. Like, you're like, no, she was great, she was a great lady. But at the end of the day, now I go, no, she was not a great lady. She wasn't supposed to be doing that. She should have seen through it, right? It's a tragedy all together, right? No one's saying that these adults, I wouldn't wish to be one of them. I wouldn't wish to be defrauded that way, entering that contract as an adult. But that's what it's called, adulting. Like, if you do something now that is effed up, you will suffer consequences because you consented, you signed contracts, you were looped in, you were shown the references, nothing raised a red flag for you, then that's going to be on you, unfortunately. And if you did that for decades, then you have all of that carry over, I mean, I think that Mike Brown is showing such a great example of what it means to mature through this horrific stuff. He calls her Rosemary, right? Like, he wasn't going to leave her there out of spite. No one's calling for people to be left there out of spite. They do have to save themselves, though. Like, they do have to use their both feet. Children don't have that. Like, those are the only ones. If this building was on fire,
Yeah.
and there were kids in there, we needed to get the kids out first.
I agree.
Everyone else,
Yeah.
jump out the window, figure it out, use your brain, use your skills, like,
That's true.
you know, but in terms of advocacy and who's most at risk, you have to go with who's most at risk.
Yeah.
And that's always been the thing that is never discussed in Scientology, because everyone talks about it over here, about, oh, this and that, and it's all what is called altered importance. So that's a Scientology word.
I never heard that one. Okay.
It's a Scientology word. When you're investigating, that's what they teach you to look for. When you want to derail an investigation, you flood it with altered importance. And if the people doing the investigation are stupid or are not familiar, to do an investigation, you have to be able to be like, oh, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't connect, right? These people that don't have familiarity with what goes on in the hotels, because none of them have been there.
Right.
So how easy it is for these adults to come out and say whatever, and nobody would know that they look like they're coming clean. They look like they're taking responsibility. I mean, how many hate comments did I get on my Grindr until now, where the cat is out of the bag, but for so many other videos, it's like, don't come after him, he's doing his best.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was there. I would know if he was doing his best or not.
Yeah.
You know what? And I was an adult as a child, so unlucky for me, I was at the front row seat at the adult dysfunction. The most hardcore scene is the audit. Yes, fair game. Yes, what's Scientology? Audits. What gets done to you? Why is everyone there for audits?
Yeah.
Nothing else. Scientology is nothing else but those role plays. And it's those role plays that, again, we're sounding the alarm on. You cannot be in a role play where you're being locked against your will. As a child, no. Like, we have Ruby Frankie to thank for how that's not a thing. You cannot go to a therapist and have the therapist advise you to commit a felony on your child, and then you're gonna be like, oh no, but she told me. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, you know, nobody has been saying that people have been falsely imprisoned through these sessions, but nobody understands what the sessions are anyway. Nobody's raising that alarm. Well, I was an auditor, you know, and in hindsight now, what did I need for someone to be saying when I was being locked up against my will? This. I didn't need them to talk about fair game. I don't give a fuck about fair game. Fair game affected the adults.
Yeah. So something that would be helpful to me as a never-ending aspiring protester would be, like, I've listened to dozens of stories now, and my heart breaks for all of these for what was raised. But it would be really helpful to distinguish, this was my experience 20 years ago, versus these are things that I know are still going on right now. Like the whole, like the RPF, I'm sure there's a thing similar to RPF now, but if we can find out what is it,
Well, I'll make it even more easier for you, right? As long as they're auditing children, nothing has changed, right? So miss us with the RPF. Who gives an S? Are you auditing children? Yes or no? Are you giving children ethics handlings? Yes or no? Are you grooming children through courses? Those are the only three things Scientology is: ethics, audits, and courses. Nothing else. Everything else is just BS, altered importance to make you feel like, oh, maybe I'm protesting the wrong thing, or maybe they don't do it anymore. It's like, as long as children are exposed to audits, no, they're not safe, right? And that's a given.
And yeah, I absolutely. How do I say this? So I firmly believe that all of this stuff still happens. It's like, how can we get specific examples or like what we need to find out about state regulations in each place about beyond what age is it okay to take a kid out of school, and
Yeah, should we move over there? Because I'm thinking that,
where it's a
yeah.
little less loud.
Thank you guys for joining us on this IRS protest at this federal building as we continue to raise awareness. Yeah, let's go over here. Yeah,
This is nice.
it's a little better, right?
In the shade, it's cool. There we go, good call. You were starting to ask something about something Reese said?
Yeah, oh yeah, Reese was talking about Dan O'Connor, who is the guy that's hit her in the head with the fax machine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that's how I always think of it. But he runs a Scientology school in his palatial mansion. It's in Kansas City, or outside of it. So there was somebody, one of the streamers caught some kids getting off a bus in kind of after school hours at the Kansas City Org a couple of weeks ago. And so somebody asked, who are these kids? What's going on? Why are there all these kids going off to their work? Are they going for training or what's going on? And so Reese saw that and he did as part of one of the explanation of how the dynamics work, and because she was on staff and so according to her, Dan O'Connor has a nanny who I think she's hired. She's a daughter of a family of Scientologists, and they have something like 5 kids and no money because they're Scientologists, and so all that's sucked out of them. And Dan said, hey, I'm going to take your daughter and take care of her and give her a job. And the family said, oh, great, one less mouth to feed, and she'll be doing the good work of Scientology. So she became the nanny at like age 12 or 13, something like that.
Yep.
She's now, I don't know, 16 or something. I could be off on the numbers, but she's been there for a few years. She lives with the O'Connors. She works basically around the clock, just doing whatever they need. And at some point when they decided to open the school, they said, okay, now you're the teacher. So she's the teacher, and she never went to high school. She doesn't know.
That is so normal. I mean, in Scientology, like, in Scientology, I mean, I was the teacher. Do you know what I mean? In Scientology, they believe it's like the teacher, L. Ron Hubbard says the teacher is meaningless because you're learning from the material, right? So the teacher's really there just to make sure you don't go by a word you don't understand and all these bullshit things that don't even make sense. So that's how they grab kids, and they sell this idea that you can be a teacher because they're like, oh, you're not relying on her to teach you. She's just there.
Facilitator.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all these euphemisms used to warp reality, right? And again, it's like when you're that groomed into it, especially as a child, that you have nothing else to compare it to, you buy the pitch. You're gullible, you're naive, you hear these people, they sound very confident, they have the palatial mansions. I mean, it's called, they're traffickers. Using palatial mansions a la P. Diddy to lure people. You must be so successful. You couldn't be doing anything shady because look at your mansion.
Right.
Wrong.
Right. And so, sure, start a school where you charge $1,000 a month tuition per child. And so the child is being taught by someone that you're not even paying. All you're doing is getting every course. And what kind of a business deal is that?
I mean, the grift is endless with these people. Everything is a grift in there. I mean, you see like Grant Cardone's model, grift here, grift there, grift over there, grift over there. They're always figuring out a way to become people. They want people to become dependent on them, right? Like that's their whole thing. Like the whole shtick is become dependent on me. Like make me indispensable to you, or at least make you think I am. And it's like, once they achieve that, they're the person is there, is like, oh, I want you to think highly of me. Here's my child. Here's this.
Yeah.
Here's that. You know, and then once they cross certain lines, they're already way blackmailed city over there, right? So they've already become a pawn in a conspiracy. It's, it doesn't take that much to be in a conspiracy. Like literally, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh, there's so many conspiracies. This whole world runs on conspiracy.
right. No, I'm talking about criminal, legal conspiracy,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
Like
it all
literally,
is. It all
you know,
is.
organized crime. You know,
Yeah. So most of my reporting has been lawsuits ever since the pandemic. So I've watched a lot of court proceedings.
It's interesting.
Worlds collide.
That's
So
right.
there's a lot of them here. What are the ages of John Wick? It's not. It's not a fix that. That's the thing. So if parents don't know, it's into the government.
well, I mean, and I think
Services are beyond that, but
number one again is like
But
there,
do we want like yeah.
there's nothing to fix yet until this information is understood and taken seriously, right? Everything's gonna be fixed once, because again, it's not complicated, right? Like kids being locked up in rooms for hours and hours on end, adults being able to pay for that. Like here's, I'm gonna put $5,000 on my Amex to gain 12 and a half hours with that child. That's not acceptable. Like it's beyond disgusting. It's beyond reprehensible. The fact that it's all video recorded, taped and all of that. It's like going back to the P. Diddy example. It's like all it would take is for them to go in, knock, knock, knock. They come out with all the files immediately. They come up with all the video recordings immediately. All the evidence is been kept by these people. That's, you know, it's there, like the Boy Scouts. I mean, yeah, they might have some secret files, but they were not writing it down every time it happened and then getting everyone briefed, right? Like, who knows who they talk to? Who knows what type of, there's all these layers of plausible deniability that you cannot prove. Well, over here, there isn't. Over here is like, they went out today, go to the ethics officer. The ethics officer finds out everything about it. The ethics officer,
Just like the
it's extremist, right? It's like, it's extremism, like putting children in gaslighting chambers, right? Like you come out of that gaslighting chamber and it looks like you're fine. Like I cannot tell if, you know, Grant Cardone is having his 14-year-old go in session because I would not be able to physically see if she's been put in that gaslighting chamber or not. I suspect that she has, the way she speaks about certain things, the way she's been groomed, the way she's already like presenting herself as an adult at 14, right? And it's again, it's going back to like, how do we know it's still happening? It's like, I mean, we're seeing, but it's all right. It's like, imagine that these people, it's like Amanda Bynes. I mean, at least Nickelodeon was grabbing like this hand-selected amount of kids, right? All of these kids didn't make it. They thought they were not lucky. The unlucky ones are here. But in Scientology, all the parent brought in, the parent is vetted, you're vetted, great, let's get your kids in. You agree with everything, nothing raises a red flag, let's keep doing it, let's keep going for it, let's keep. So that's, and again, going back to like, who's the problem here? For years we've heard is David Miscavige. Who brings children to this institution? Children aren't walking themselves in there. The parents are grabbing you, forcing you to go in there, telling you you're gonna get helped. But you're not getting help by being locked up against your will and having criminal activity perpetrated on you. And you don't know that. As a child, everything looks benign. Everything looks familiar. Like, you know, you're supposed to like all the randoms that are inside of that hotel. Because your parents go, they're Scientologists. Like, she's an OT5, she's an OT3, he's an OT8, so it's, again, it's like, OT5, what the hell does that mean? As a child, you would go, oh, it's a status thing. It's always status, like, so that's why it's, and it's all, that's why it's so fake, right? But again, it's like, had they done this 21 and up, no one could have touched them. Because again, it's not like the adults that are involved in this don't know. The problem that they have is that they know all, right? It's not like The parents of the U.S. gymnastics, oh, we thought we took him to Larry Nassar. We thought he was a doctor. No, sir. You took him to an auditor. You knew they could have their way with your child. You knew that they could lock him up against their will for as long as it took for the session to float. And as a child, you had to disassociate and tell them that whatever they were doing to you, I love it, it's great, it's wonderful, Von Hubbard's a genius, or you weren't getting out. So going back to like, we can call out a parent that's putting a child through that and say, you're wrong. I don't, that's my religious belief. Do it to you. Don't do it to your child.
Scientology, the IRS, for their taxes and status. Feel free to read if you'd like.
I grew up in Salt Lake City as a non-LDS person, non-Mormon,
Okay.
in the 70s and 80s, and being surrounded by that culture and not being able to say, like having to be very careful about what I could and couldn't say. It was an odd experience because I'm a real quality person, and I've had so many people say, "What do you mean you're not Mormon? But you're a good girl. You're not out smoking weed or cutting class or whatever." How this doesn't equate. You can't be a good person unless you're LDS. And that it took me years to kind of get beyond that. I left when I could and lived in Minnesota, Wisconsin,
Wow.
other places since then.
And they got their problems too. They've got their own abuses of their tax exempt status as well. Scientology's not the only ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fitnesses there, all kinds of things. But I mean, Scientology, from what I've seen, is just a whole other level.
It's
Gosh, I thought we escaped that noise.
35.
Not the best stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I left the Sea Org early 20s. Like, I think I was 21.
Huge.
Yeah, my whole formative years were spent in Florida. Like, since I arrived at, I think, 11 or 12 is when I arrived.
What do you attribute leaving?
Turning 21. Turning 21, you're 21 and they were trying to scare me. You're going to wash bathrooms with muriatic acid. I was like, whatever, I'll do it. I'm leaving. Like, we're going to have you do this. I was kept there for like 6 months getting interrogated and then doing disgusting stuff. Like,
Fixing you? I mean, were they trying to like fix you? Or?
well, the interrogation, because L. Ron Hubbard says that you would never want to leave a group like this unless you have committed crimes against the group. So on your way out, they have to clean you of all the crimes. So, and there's no saying no to that, because again, if you escape without permission, then your entire family turns against you. And at this time, I still was under the delusion that my family was not my child trafficker. It's like, in my case, it was my parents who trafficked and financially benefited from the trafficking.
But that's later. You figured that out later.
Way later. Literally maybe in the last 5-6 years is where I really understood and come to terms with that difficult truth to acknowledge, because you don't want to think of your life like that.
Whole shift in worldview.
Yeah. Well, it was called like waking up and smelling the coffee and understanding the facts and having therapists and having people that were trauma informed and so many layers of this that had to come off. Correct. Because again, you cannot do it alone. You cannot go back to that matrix by yourself. Like, it's like your brain is not wired, and that's why all these victims cannot even speak out right now, right? It's just like, after they've abused you that much, it's almost impossible, and the miracle is that I am able to.
They will speak out.
Well, as long as we're speaking out and setting what the thing is, we're making it so they don't have to say the same thing, right? We're translating here what in the hell happened, right? Like, we don't need all of them to be burdened by this heavy lifting that is also unthinkable and exhausting, right? It's like, okay, but if no one's gonna do it, then how is it ever gonna stop? And if no one that was there is calling it out, except all the kids that were involved in this, then it's fine. Then it'll be up to us, you know, and then it's whoever can handle it. Again, they've been abused.
But they'll see that you can handle it, and a path has been.
Well, injustice, right? And all you guys are seeing how bad it is. Like they've lived in, they come from a world where everybody pretended that this was all Gucci. Everything's fine, everything's wonderful. Tom Cruise is around. What is everyone so pressed about? Well, you know what? They're pressed about that. You know, it's like just because Jeffrey Epstein was hobnobbing with Bill Gates and all manner of people, turns out that kids being involved is part of these blackmail operations. You call them Scientology, you call them Nickelodeon, you call them Trouble Teen Industry, you call it Jeffrey Epstein, you call it P. Diddy. What do they all have in common? Kids trafficked, kids ensnared. So those are the common denominators, and the blackmail is the most specific common denominator that ties them all together. They do the same thing, cameras everywhere on the inside, right? So in Scientology, they hate cameras on the outside. Imagine if what would happen if we were allowed to go on the inside. I mean, this place would, again, it's like fraud cannot stand a shred of scrutiny. It's not about their privacy, it's that what they do to kids will not stand to a shred of scrutiny outside, because no normal adult would see that and not react. Only Scientology parents that have been groomed, kneecapped, and compromised. I mean, yes, it sucks to be a Scientology parent. It sucks.
But they made the decision.
They're there. You know what I mean? There's no turning back the time now. So if you did it, if you contributed, undo it now by coming clean. By cleaning your hands. Take your own advice that you were dishing out inside of the hotel. Except that don't come clean inside of a hotel. Go to the FBI and really lay it out. Don't bullshit your way around that. That's all.
Especially with the current stuff that is so within the statute of limitations of their
Become a cooperating witness. Say, I'm here to cooperate as a witness. I did this shit. I'm so disgusted with myself. I'm horrified. You know, how many people could have compassion for that? Be like, oh my God, you're really putting yourself on the line? Like, yeah, that's what's going to require. And if 200 of them, I mean, imagine there's like over 10,000 Scientology parents that have left. There's not even 200 of them willing to come to terms and say, I did this. I need to be a cooperating witness. Misses with your informant. That's bullshit. That's you feed them whatever you want to tell them. So they need to become cooperating witness with law enforcement in a serious way, and stop mincing words and stop playing dumb and stop trying to safeguard yourself. Like, the cat is out of the bag. What you've done is disgusting. It's unthinkable. Children aren't meant to be in extreme role plays. So that's breaking news to them. That's what L. Ron Hubbard pitched in a nutshell, right? It's like all of this complicated shit. What is it all? You're going to be an auditor. You're going to be a PC. That's a role play. They call it PC auditor. I mean,
That's, you did the walkthrough of the audit, right? And
with the meter, yeah, with Cam.
Good Cam,
Yeah.
yeah.
that, oh my God, that was, oh.
So, but at least you're starting to see through it. Like, you understand, like, from that, and then from Reese, and then from me. You know, it's like, it's not difficult to get it, right? It's been made to be this very complicated stuff. But when you actually know what in the hell you're talking about it, you can make it so that everyone understands it. So that's our burden now too. Put it in simple, stupid terms so no one can play dumb, right? Because that's the problem. If it's not explained like that, there's all these holes that everyone tries to put into the story.
So, okay, so I keep going back to what are some concrete things that, so what do we know about how many kids there are in Scientology right now?
I don't know about any numbers that we have on how many kids are currently in, but I mean, the thing is, in order for there to be justice, I think that revoking their tax exempt status is an important step one, because that just shields saves them from so much criminal prosecution, because departments of justice and district attorney's offices don't want to prosecute a religious organization.
Yeah.
So I think that by raising awareness of the abuses that we are aware of, abuse, elder abuse, that type of thing, because while they have tax exempt status, they're able to get away with so many religious or ministerial exemptions. Like,
Right.
same thing with labor laws. Like CWORK members get paid $47 a week, like maximum, for working 120 plus hours a week, where they're working like 16-hour days every day.
Right.
But because there's a ministerial exemption for religious volunteers, they're able to get away with that. Like, that's just one example. So I feel like it's hard to know what is the thing.
And that's why we cannot advocate for those adults, Jacob, because we're not going to change that ministerial exemption. That's solid on the law, right? It's like, but why are all these kids here? If we just got the kids out, the whole entire operation would collapse. They cannot operate those commercial buildings and hotels without underage staff members, like 21 and under.
So that's a great question. So what portion of the staff of those hotels is under, X
I mean, when I was there, it was 40%.
Okay. Was under what age?
Let's say under 21.
Okay.
Under 18, let's say 30%.
Okay.
I mean, there were hundreds in that. That's what normalizes it for the children, right? I was there with other children. I was there with Jenna. I was there with Laura. I was there with Aaron. I was there with Colin Smith-Levin. I was there with Edward DiMartino. I was there with so many kids from all over the world. We thought we were special.
Yeah.
We thought it felt like a campus environment. It didn't feel like this disgusting hotel that it actually is, right? Like when we were there, when we were living that hell, we could not have pinpointed what type of racketeering, criminal conspiracy we were aiding and abetting. I mean, that's why we're sounding the alarm code red. Why were we put to do this? Like, I'm disgusted that I ever audited anybody. I'm disgusted that I, at 12 years old, was doing this and was told, this is amazing, this is great, everyone cheering me on, right? And it's like, I was with other kids, putting them in session, getting them in session.
I
like,
agree. I
no.
hate Scientology.
Yeah.
I am a member of the First Church of Christ Scientists. Everybody thinks I'm a Scientologist when I tell them that. I hate Scientology. You guys are my friends.
Thank you, sir. Have a great one. Love the solidarity.
Exactly. Pop off.
I've gotten a handful of notifications that Laura's gone live. I think she's probably somewhere in the area.
Is she
People in the chat
barking?
keep saying she's coming.
All right, I'm going to hit the road before I get traffic.
Okay.
I'm in Orange County.
Thank you
Okay.
so
I
much.
saw your
So
live
nice to
stream.
meet you.
Sitting around, I put on some sweats. and
I
stuff.
love that. Thank you so much for doing
God
that. I
bless you.
really appreciate it.
Great.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out.
Godspeed and help us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And drive safe. Have a great rest of your day. All right. Well, I'm waiting on
Laura.
to come. I'm gonna bust out the guitar a little bit.
Excellent.
Yes.
Waiting for the guitar.
Maybe some folks in the chat.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
I'm so glad you came, Serge.
Of
Do such a
course.
good job of keeping all of that important info just back to back to back. But don't know what I would have been doing this whole time. You had
Well, it's all a group effort, that's for sure.
That's right.
Thank you for being here too.
You want to hold the sign?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Where should I be?
All right.
We've got a special
You can be right there.
performance.
Yeah, that's great.
Mr. Jacob.
Hold it up to the street so that people are walking.
No, because then we can show it to the cameras.
Oh yeah, if you want to show it to this camera, that's probably a good idea. All right.
This is our one and only special review.
All right. Got a smudge on my camera. On my. All right. Got a good enough tune here. Revoke Scientology's tax exempt status. Revoke Scientology's tax exempt status. Revoke Scientology's tax exempt status today. The Church of Scientology should not be a 501c3. So revoke Scientology's tax exempt status today.
Today, IRS.
Revoke Scientology's tax exempt status. Revoke Scientology's tax exempt status. Today. There she is.
Revoke Scientology tax
That's a
status.
great sign.
Revoke it.
Scientology's tax exemption.
Don't try to touch me. It's with like
Oh, is the paint still wet?
But it's very, it fits the whole thing because I wanted it to feel childish, like kiddish. And
I love
was
it.
And I did it fast and sloppy, and I love it. It probably brings more attention.
Nice.
I'm so happy you guys were here. I rushed, and then the band wasn't starting, and then DOA freaking helped me put a little thing,
Hey.
so I didn't have to worry. I just undo it now, unplug it, plug it, so the battery doesn't drain. And I was like, I'm taking my van. Let's go.
Well, we're glad you made it.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the sign
Cult
that I
of
made, the back side of
Scientology.
it?
Around here, guys.
We parked
I
miles
forgot.
away.
Yeah, and so I was like, that's it. I'm going to the place I know, and that's it.
Yeah, we always park at the same place by Little Tokyo.
So this is good. You guys are reading. See, I see the smiles. This is good. He smiled. He smiled. He understood. He knows. He's smart. Look it.
The letter that we had somebody show us.
Scientology traffics children. We are the kids. We are the children.
We are the children that were
That
trafficked.
were trafficked, and the IRS gives them a tax-free religious status because Scientology bullied the IRS. See, you're listening, but you know. He's smiling. He knows. He's cute too. It's okay. I can flirt at the same time.
Tootie flow.
I can show you some tootie flowing. Okay, this is really cute. So we might just also be doing a little rehearsal. Just kidding. I forgot, Jacob.
One.
What are you doing tomorrow night at 8 p.m.?
I've got my radio show from 6 to 7.
I knew it. Thursdays, huh? But you're gonna do Viper Room with us, right?
That's tomorrow.
No. That's May 4th. But we have a show tomorrow at our show.
I don't think I'll be able to. Or
May
actually, maybe
4th
I'll
is
be
Saturday.
working late. That May 4th is a Saturday? Yeah, I should
Saturday
be
night,
that.
Viper Room, 8 p.m.
Okay.
Did you hear that, guys? Jacob has just joined.
Heck yeah.
Again, not joined. He's been jamming with us.
Joined
But he's joining the Viper
the
Room
cult
lineup.
of us. The cult, the,
The
new cult.
of love. The cult of reality.
That's right.
The cult of anything other than Scientology. At this point, we can deal with that.
Did you see all the stuff I put on my sign? I got all of the
Yeah.
tax codes for all of the wealthy Scientology organizations, and then a Bitly and
What
QR
is the-
code.
what is
That goes to Jeffrey Augustine's How
Nice.
to Simply and
Okay,
Effectively
so
Report the
guys-
Church to the IRS. So if you're in Laura's chat and you want to report the Church of Scientology to the IRS, just go to bit.ly/Scientology IRS, or go ahead and scan that QR code, and all of the instructions are there, as well as all the information that is on this sign.
Amazing. This is
everybody
actually
that-
really amazing.
Everybody that's on my chat right now,
And
I
they all
did
love
post
you.
those on my
May the
community
4th.
tab.
That's
so
right.
you can actually find them on my community tab right now.
Heck yeah. Yeah, if we can get hundreds of people reporting Scientology to the IRS in one day, that would be amazing.
Don't let me fail them. DOA
We all
and
filed our
Congress
taxes this
didn't
week,
let
but not
us fail
Scientology.
them. Like, the first time. I was like, no, I'm not going to fail them. First practice. You know what I think it is? It's that it says practice, because we're not here to practice. Like, we're here to just get better at protesting. So I think if for the future, if we took out the practice, no. We're doing this, but we're going to learn our wrongs.
Well,
and our
these were
rights, and then
these
the
were
next-
rehearsals. These were rehearsals.
But
The
I
next
don't like
one.
that. I mean, every time I come here, I'm giving.
But
you
how
my
many
all.
times have
It
we
ain't
had to
no
rehearse for your
rehearsal.
show?
I know, but this ain't no rehearsal. This is like, I can scream, I can feel, I can mess up, and I don't care. Like, I want them to know. I want them to know what I'm feeling, and I won't be able to control that sometimes. Especially.
Oh, we know.
And Kate, I was talking to you. I was like, the chat knows. The chat knows.
I mean, it's always a learning experience.
It is.
I
for
didn't
sure.
totally know what to
I started
expect.
yelling at these people first. I know you, because they shut the door and they're like, actually, they shut us down. I was like, thank you for learning, thank you for teaching me. And then I said, well, then if you want to kindly help me directly where the offices are, so I can make sure my loud voice goes in their direction. I said that, and they said they're actually here on the first floor. They did
IRS
say
is
that.
on the
Yeah,
first
they're
floor?
right down
Oh,
here. Their
okay.
offices
They're-
are right standing.
Well,
They said they are the first offices.
I
on
was
the first
inside. This is the immigration offices right
Yeah,
here.
Okay.
federal, everything tax-wise and everything.
No,
It's either
it's-
your
I was on the fourth floor. I went all the way up to the fourth floor to Homeland Security, and that's actually been their transformed into their building cleaning office. So it's not even Homeland Security any longer. So I've been on the third and
well,
the
because
eighth.
they have to technically have offices, and it doesn't matter if people are there. They just have to have a location for
Yeah.
people to send stuff.
But there's just a lot of
Could be
offices that are
empty.
pointing like
Yeah, to
this.
each other.
And one
Yeah.
said, one was like human rights, and I went to that office, permanently closed.
Oh,
Oh, great.
you get a picture of that? Oh, I might steal that from your live.
Human rights permanently closed.
Might steal that.
Oh my God, you guys, I think we just figured out the vein of our existence.
Dreams don't go away. You know how it starts off. Something's going on. We're doing a whole protesting song to it. That's going to be the music video. So our show tomorrow night, we're going to use footage of me and you. We'll go and we're going to sing that song, even though that's not a normal song we use or sing. Like not normal. We go through our phases. we're feeling this right now.
There's
But,
more songs than
yeah,
meets
there's
the
so many
eye.
songs that a lot of people haven't even heard yet. But tomorrow night,
Thank
we'll
you,
be-
Randy.
When that song plays on the set, we'll be filming a lot of
Oh, Rando.
insert our singing as part of the layovers of all the protesting.
Rhonda Woodman. Hi, Sally.
So tomorrow's show starts at 8?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, the doors open at 7, guys. I just got sent the lineup, and it's amazing. It's all these old school, everybody that's been, it's called the Decades Show, and it's Anna Maroon who she's been a long-time artist, downtown LA, put together things, everything. But the Art Chair LA, as you guys know, is I lived at the Art Chair, above the Art Chair when I was just leaving. Whoa!
Good catch.
That's funny. I walked
Like
right and I
right
felt that.
directly in
I
my
felt that.
I get it. It like landed so perfectly right there.
I walked right and I was like, oh my God.
Your OT powers.
That's why I turned around.
OT around here. OT 420. Somebody just made, by the way, Tilty Bird, if you're in here, let me look.
Tilty Bird.
Tilty Bird, you sent me some really amazing art. I gave you away is you're magical, and I got your letter, and I'm so glad. Like, yo, I'm here for you, and that art I'm going to frame, and if you're okay with that, I would love to share it on Instagram and all that. But the way you said how you when you were drawing each thing, and one of the things she drew, I wish I had it with me, but it was so delicate. I literally was like, this is water-based. This needs to go in a frame immediately and away from anything. I was like holding a cup of water. I was like, I can't touch this. And there's like 4. Anyways, thank you so much. Really very sweet art, and I'll show you guys soon what I do with it. It's gonna be amazing. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, speaking as a person from out of town who wanted to come for the protest,
Yes.
it was so important to find information about it. So, thank you so much
For jumping on, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming last week.
Yeah. I think everything little counts. Like even if I didn't show up, you guys being here made there's thing where it's everything takes its little time and toll. Maybe the IRS doesn't need us banging and shouting. Maybe they're kind of going, okay, well there's little crowds getting bigger about this Scientology thing. What is that? I'm sure somebody's going, what is that about?
Yeah.
Why you know?
Yeah.
Let's just get them
But I
talking.
think what she was commenting that it was hard
yeah.
for her to find it. It wasn't, yeah, so it's like.
Because I think people are also
But then
Yeah.
I got here at 1 and there was nobody here.
And that's usually the case, just so you know. Usually, like at the start point,
But I
people are
feel
still
like
looking
it
for
shouldn't be
parking.
like that. I feel like you know how we do even for our shows. Like there should be orange balloons and things where it's like, oh, okay, and that way it's like, I don't know. Anyway, so this is amazing, and so next week we're doing this again, right?
Yeah.
Next week we're doing this again, and we're gonna be very.
We're gonna
serious.
step it up. Every time you
It's
come,
good
step
for
it up.
everybody to come and feel the vibe and joke a little bit with the people inside and say like, oh, are you reading my sign?
And we're actually coming up with a whole landing page where we're gonna put protests for the whole year because we want to be protesting a lot of different aspects, you know. Yeah.
specifically all related to Scientology.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Well, and we can even expand. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely, I want to very much. Because just for my own safety, I can't vouch for anything else other than this because I know because I've been through it. So I can't go and say vouch for Child USA when fucking Mike Ritter or whoever the fuck is on the board, or when there's other things. I can't vouch for things.
well,
that I
but sort of
definitely
similar
don't know
to like
myself.
what we were talking with Alexa before, like child services. Like, there's plenty more people that can go and protest that from their own side. You know, all the Nickelodeon people can go and protest that too. Like
For sure, and we can be there.
the
for
LAPD,
any
we're
of
gonna
them
be
as well.
protesting the LAPD. So they're getting their own set of protests, LAPD. So you that watch all our lives coming to a LAPD station near you very soon.
I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, that'll be big.
Well, you know, again, it's going back to like the enablers. None of this happens in a vacuum. There's a lot of people that are enabling it. And if they're not inconvenienced by enabling it, guess what? They're going to continue enabling it. Because what is it to them?
For people to realize that they had a big part of, like, why are we here? We know why we're here. But who created this problem? Who created Scientology? Who fucking was demanding and ordering who to make sure that the IRS gave the status? David Miscavige, Mike Rinder, Mark Yeager. These are all executives. So the
Marty
fact that
Rathman.
Mike Rinder isn't here right now, being like, I'm the one we need, like doing things that if he doesn't think it's good enough to be here, then fucking do something that lines up with what we're all doing so that the push is all on the same.
Yeah.
He should be coming out saying, I approved all these, we ordered these, we made these people's animals die, we made them know we were the ones doing this.
Yeah.
We made all the Sea Org members file lawsuits against me. So it all needs to be said. And here we are, the kids of this, still fucking doing this. That's the point. So I don't care if there's 4 people or 5 people. Good, let's know. Good, we're gonna put balloons. Let's make it loud. Let's spread it across. Let everybody know. Anybody can come. It wasn't a private thing. It's okay. You know, this is about Scientology. If you all fear the IRS, it's okay. We're here to support. It's about Scientology.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are even afraid of the IRS because they're very powerful. But we need their power on our side. We're not here to attack them. We need them to get rid of their mistakes.
And just remember, the facts are what's powerful. The truth is what's powerful. If you have the truth on your side, then that's all the power we need. And we have the truth. We know what happened to us as kids. We witnessed it. We didn't like it. And we're here to denounce it all.
And the kids are just like, thank God that there's a fucking law that protects children in some way, that we actually are maybe able to even squeeze through. The kids is just the beginning of this. And the most deepest, darkest, the most manipulative, the most, like,
They're more at risk. They're most at risk. They're most at risk.
Because they continue, because then, as we were soldiers for the rest of our lives, for billions of years. I mean, we joke about it now, but it's fucking true. So, like, they're never allowed to be able to do this again. And it is happening even if they're still saying that there's no children. No, Scientologists with children are already abusing their children.
Yeah.
With Scientology.
Yeah. That is very clear.
And for the IRS to really have not been, like, they're always attacking and getting everybody, oh, didn't pay their taxes. You know how much money Scientology has paid and how corrupt they are for not paying the United States, especially for calling on all the states, all the protesters that are opposing them. They don't pay any of that money.
Yeah.
We are literally all paying for this. I'm literally like, oh, yeah, gotta pay taxes.
So one thing that I'm concerned about is that revoking the status is some critical and I'm concerned that all these religious organizations may, Scientology may be like, hey, we'll support us.
But what do you mean you're concerned about not having this support?
Yeah, that Scientology may be able to
We should be concerned. We should start questioning
Right
other
here, look.
religions that are abusing children
I
and
agree with
manipulating
you.
your.
I agree.
They're all doing it. But right now, We are the only evidence. We are the only receipts that we can show up and say, look, this happened on a fucking daily basis, and thank God we're not dead.
I agree. And
They will be worried. It is concerning.
if we could enlist the support of some of the ones who are kind of the least shady, to get their support from.
I think we have it. We just, like you said, need to just be.
Nobody wants to support child traffickers. Nobody wants to support them. So no, everyone's gonna we're not like them. They're all gonna go. Nobody's gonna be like, oh yeah, we also do that. If Scientology comes to help for them, they're gonna be get the F away from us. You're so toxic and disgusting. We don't even want to have anything to do with
But
it.
think about what happened at the Austin opening, where that church across the street, which would have been a great vantage point for the protesters to be shouting from. At the last minute, somebody from Scientology went and talked to them, and there was some sort of solidarity of, oh, we're a religious organization too. And
But that's just not
But-
all religions.
Oh,
Let me
Yeah.
tell you, even Mormons don't support Scientology. So
Yeah.
it's not even. I know that we have this fear because I've had that same fear. So I know what you're saying, and I've gone through it, and it's actually better to find out what people believe and what they don't, and where you're going to get support and where you're
Go
not.
there and get something to drink.
And it's also amazing for
You wanna
people
go
to
now?
understand that their religion
tired.
is also allowing
Hear that?
pedophilia,
I'm tired.
whether they're doing
My
that
leg
or
bothers
not. Their religion by
No,
their
but I
rules
need
letting
something to drink.
children have certain behaviors are illegal. So let's change the laws across the board about children and religion, if that's what it gets you. But for right now, we're talking about Scientology and how they just recently, because most of these religions have been around forever, they've established
can you believe that?
long-term establishment for people that have kept them safe.
Civil
and
Rights
kept them
Office,
safe
closed.
mindsets. You know, they can go somewhere to get off their feet or whatever, right? But when children are involved so deeply, then it's an issue. And let me tell you, most religions and people that I know, I have heard child abuse from every religion. So that is a great concern, and it is valid, and it is true, and it's going to be exposed. For sure. You know, this is all part of the new everything. Life changes. We grow or we stay the same or we die. You know, that's all there is to it. We actually never stay the same. You literally are being healthy and you're doing good and you're, enjoying it and you're having your little ups and downs and doing it, or you're on the way of dying and you're denying it and you're going to end up dead. So, but either way, if it's another religion or not, child abuse is not okay. So we would like to see if 80% of the world is okay with child abuse in religion or not. If that's the fucking fact, then that's the fact. It's the fact.
I think boiling it down.
Who supports it? Who does not?
Okay for child.
Science.
Boil it down.
Right. Are you? Yeah. And even if they're not okay for Scientology, they can say no, we're not okay with that. Although they do it, but they can say no, we're not okay with that. In fact, we have auditing that helps people. But we have a world of millions of people with different beliefs and world views and stuff. You can't just start a religion and then say, oh, and now we don't abide by what everybody else in the world has agreed on. You don't just start a religion and go, okay, it's okay if people have pedophiles, rape people, and get auditing in our religion, then you're fine. You're not God. You're not the fucking rest of the world. You're not the United States people. And so it's completely fucking illegal, and they've been getting away with it as long as they've been in religion. That's literally the truth.
And again, because nobody knows what they do. Nobody understands what these audits
The slow
are.
processing, the slow.
It's very hard for people to get it.
Tie your shoe this way, not that way. It literally breaks it down all the way to that. Squeeze cans this way, not that way. Undo your buckle this way, not that way. What do you do, drills? Literally, what do you do if somebody slumped down and went past a misunderstood word? What do you do? That was Lauren Hollander in that video that you and Aaron were talking about. That was really passionate about child and going, what do you slump? Look it up. I was at the ranch when she was being shipped from the ranch to the Golden Era Productions to film those sets, and she was getting sick. And she was feeling, she would come to the ranch, and we were
No,
so
I
like,
wasn't
jealous
there.
of her for
I
going
wasn't
and,
there.
Like, oh, Lauren Hollander gets moved.
I'm
But
so sorry
actually,
to
she
hear
was
about that.
fucking
That's
hell.
horrible.
She needed it. She needed it. She would come back like not wanting to do it, and then she would get in trouble because she didn't want to be a part of it or do it, or even put any energy that she didn't want to be going to the base to film these long shoots.
And this is what we're saying. Kids cannot consent. Kids didn't know. We didn't know. We couldn't say no. we had to continue to pretend that we loved it, and we didn't love it.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
We just had to, that's the thing. If you could say it in children's words, we had to pretend that we liked it and we didn't like it. We had to be okay with doing things and receiving things happening to us that we did not like and be okay with it.
It's all about the
And
balance.
then there's ballet at the IRS, you
Nothing
guys.
is wrong with that. Numbing your emotions. So they can make you
Yeah, I keep searching for ways to try to.
I'm going to show her a picture of the Right. As long as they say look yourself up. Well, they can't do that. They can't look at what they can't see. They're being trained to look at, even if you show them in their face, they're being trained how to see what you're showing them. They're being trained what to think when they receive information that you're showing them that is outside of their mind.
What's up, selfless self?
Their own ethics.
I keep coming back to the same thing.
I think the best way right now is just to get the children out. Get a law that says no more children. And if Scientology is the result of us, is that for all religions, that no more children are allowed to be in religions until over a certain age, then that's because of us, then great. How does that harm a child? How does that harm a child to not let them know later about religion? Religion is a personal thing.
I think you're exactly right. I'm just cynically thinking the people that would need to pass that law, so many of them.
But you guys, we don't need to pass that law. Audits, we don't need to pass that law. Audits are illegal. You cannot lock someone up against their will. That's a felony already. So it goes back to that, right? It's like, what Scientology audits? The audits already call for illegal things to happen.
Yeah.
And so we have to just strip it down to that basic, right? Like, in the audits, they're locked up. They cannot escape. If somebody came and grabbed you and locked you up you would be kidnapped. All these laws apply, right? Like, no one can touch you. Like, in these hotels, they were grooming us to be manhandled, to be handled, to be grabbed. I mean, we've seen how many protesters come and literally grab them and
bring them in.
because it's called 8C. When they're doing it to you, they call it 8C.
Body routing, 8C.
So again, it's going back to like, we don't need to ban religion. We need to stop children getting in that scenario. Period, full stop. After that, the whole thing is already a fraud, right? So when Scientology parents are confronted with the fact that they're literally involved in a racketeering criminal scheme, then everyone's gonna jump ship. There's no more laws that need to be passed. They were all acting in a conspiracy. It's organized crime. It's a child trafficking mafia. Are they gonna save a world by enslaving kids? Explain how that works, Scientology parents. Just make that make sense. Get a criminal attorney that can really make that make sense to a jury, by all means.
I have to do it when I'm off my live to be able to do that.
So I think it's
So it's about the auditing. It's about L. Ron Hubbard's
policies from a convicted felon. Like, what are you talking about? There's like a convicted felon wrote that shit.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? Who's kidding who here, right? Like, it's like if somebody follows what a convicted felon says, like maybe they're gonna end up on the wrong side of the law. Maybe.
Depends on the convicted felon. I mean Scoville says no stuff that makes sense to me. So.
But Tommy Scoble also isn't sex trafficking children or being a pedophile or a rapist.
Right. I mean, you could be rehabbed, but L. Ron Hubbard wasn't rehabbed. He was on the run, trafficking more kids, running around with Shelley Miscavige, 12-year-old, on a ship by the time he got convicted and indicted for fraud.
Is there anything that could be done around the purist for children? It seems to
Yeah, they should not be
Like,
doing
that's
it.
the ramping
None
up
of that should be. The
that.
peer of everything, auditing, peer of all that's the same. The children are already they're already separating their own mind and their own thoughts to aside to be programmed and be told what their next moves are. They're not given a choice. They're told, PC auditor, separate your mind and your thoughts, and now we're going to tell you so that when you go back to you feel like shit. And you feel like, oh God, I gotta go get more auditing. Oh my God, I'm starting, It's literally the definition of anti-freedom.
Yeah.
It's literally the opposite of feeling so beautiful and loved. Like, Scientology just fucked us
It's
up.
dehumanizing. It's utterly
Totally
dehumanizing.
And
So,
everybody does it to everyone. Yeah.
so again, adults can dehumanize each other. No one owes them interventions. If they love it, if they're getting off on it, do you. Don't bring kids. Like, that's the simplest way to go at this problem, because the adults don't want to be told what to do, and no one can tell you. I mean, they can tell you, but it's not going to do anything, but if they're being confronted on criminal acts they're perpetrating on kids, all of a sudden they might want to escape from that reality, right? They might be like, what? I never thought about it like that. Well, fine, we're doing you a favor, so stop. The sooner everything stops, the better it is for every child, right? And it's going to take a long time. Sure, it's going to take as long as it takes. We're not going anywhere. We're not in a rush. Just make it stop. And again, like, public awareness of this issue is what's going to make them inoperable. Those hotels will become inoperable because they only function as that because there's this facade that they're this and that. They were a false pitch that the idiots at the IRS took.
So the hotels that you're talking about, so Clearwater and here, right, in LA, are there other locations that also have that? Or is
In Australia, in Copenhagen, in UK, in every country that they have advanced orgs. Is when they have the advanced orgs, when they have to be there for OT3 and all of that, then they have the whole accommodation process. Because all the other commercial buildings are just send-offs. They're really supposed to grab people and then send them off to stay there at that Florida location.
So help me with the terminology. So the regular org is a class 5, right?
Yep.
But these are advanced orgs,
Uh-huh.
you're saying? Is that the same as a Sea org?
Right. I mean, Sea Org are the advanced orgs where the OT levels are delivered.
Okay.
The Sea Org is where Sea Org staff members work and exist. So every big organization, there are Sea Org members in that organization, for sure.
Yeah.
And they are responsible for recruiting staff members that dedicate a year or 2 years or whatever it is for being on staff, which means they come to work every fucking day or every other day, whatever their schedule is, and they have to do their regular job in the outside, but they also, their main number one is that they're on staff at a Scientology organization. So they do their regular job, they have to balance. So being on staff is crazy because you're on staff plus you're, doing regular work, you're doing like 12-hour shifts of Sea Org kind of work, and then going back to your regular life. So you're like in and out of cash. You're all on it. But so you're going in and out of regular, like world back in. So there's staff, schmack. They're all doing the same fucking shit. The Sea Org members are just looked up to. They have a higher, like they're dedicated, they're billionaires, they're dedicated a lot. Staff members are just happy.
So another question. Is there such a thing as a part-time staff member? What's the
Yeah,
assignment
you can do.
contract?
No, it's all different years. A staff member can sign, I think, different amounts a year. Where a Sea Org member, every minute of their day is dedicated.
Right.
Billion years, and then whatever. the
So
staff
not so much
contract.
the duration of the contract, but how much time per week they're supposed to put. Is there something like come in every Tuesday, Thursday?
Oh, they have exact schedule. Yeah. The staff
But
members,
if-
when
so
you're on
you
staff,
could be
you
part-time.
show up for- Yeah. There's no-
Okay.
Otherwise, you get, you're like a mini Sea Org member, but you're
Yeah.
You're kind of gross because you're in the outside world and you're reducing. So it's kind of, I don't know. I look at it differently because I was born inside of it all, and then I came out and it took me a minute. So I can't imagine like people out here
wonder if it would be any easier to get through.
Why?
Because of that, because they.
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's because.
Trash can. Yeah, yeah. 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 Yeah, they're from the dumpster.
From the dumpster,
Yeah.
exactly.
They literally found kid drawings and everything. Yeah, and the stats and all from the dumpster. This is the norm. This is a normal. They have daily battle plans, weekly battle plans, monthly battle plans, daily stats, monthly stats, weekly stats, everything. Every Thursday, stats are all turned in. Who's up stat? Who's down stat?
But the fact that some of those stats, one person would be like 178 text messages were sent, and then someone else would do this. How is that person not getting done with something? But maybe if they're really part-time,
Yeah.
like maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems so.
Well, they are in trouble. They're in non-existence. That's called non-existence. If you made 6, that's like, oh, that's so shitty. Your production is so low and disgusting. You are so degraded.
You went below daily.
So they have an insult for everything.
People with really good stats, and everybody else was.
Well, and remember, it's every week.
Like they're more.
One week you're great, the next week you're a piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
every week everything
Constant
changes.
abuse, mental abuse.
Going back to like it's a group extended role play that goes from Thursday to Thursday.
Yeah.
Then at the end of Thursday we all check in. Oh, how did that group
Thursday
play
before
go?
2, to be exact. It's literally Thursday before 2. It's literally called that.
So you could be that person that has however many text messages.
But you could still be down stat from the week before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You could
let's
still
come
be
back
that
to
great
I
reg
wanna
that's not
understand
that
more.
great one week.
And then if you
Drink this, baby. You probably need this.
Well, you're
She
already
has.
ahead of the program. You're already ahead of the program because that's what. Wouldn't we do that, Serge? Is this for me? Oh, I love that. Thank you. So
Oh, you're pouring it into her cup. I was like, are you just dumping it on
it's
her?
on the one night kids.
It's a magic trick. She was overheating there.
So, yeah, what I was gonna say is that people don't. If you're, people would do that. I would do that. Wouldn't you do that? Where you would be like, fine, I know I'm not. I don't want to be down sat next week and crash. So I'm only gonna use this completion for this week,
Shit, baby.
or
Eat
these
shit.
stats for this week. So next week I can balance it out.
I want
Look
to
like I
sit.
did well, for sure. Yeah, then it would look like you had a power change. That's what people do.
so talk to me again about how you could still be down staff from last
Well, if your stats are lower than they were the week before, then everybody's bound to be
Okay,
down
I'll
stats.
be there.
Unless you're
I'll be there when 6. Because I'll check this out. Yeah. Okay.
Take them.
You headed out. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. This was a lot of fun. We want to try a couple of chants before we go as a rehearsal for next week. You try to repeat after me, thing. If I'm, you all repeat after me.
He's the one to ask earlier.
Oh, okay.
She wants
Hey, hey.
She wants to
Ho,
do a
ho.
selfie.
Their tax exemptions got to go. Hey, hey.
Ho ho! Their tax exemptions got to go. Hey hey! Ho ho!
Scientology
The cult of Scientology
should not be a 501c3.
I am so
should not be a 501c3.
Cult of Scientology
There we go.
The cult of Scientology
violates public policy.
violates public policy.
For coming out, really appreciate it. All your help and all your support.
IRS, listen to me.
Revoke their 501c3.
Revoke the 501c3.
IRS,
Michael?
listen to us.
IRS, listen to us.
Revoke their tax exempt status.
Revoke their tax exemption status.
Hey, hey.
Tendency to
Ho,
get back and
ho.
get the
Their tax exemptions got to go.
Hey hey! Ho ho! Their tax exemptions gotta go.
Hey, hey.
Ho ho! Their tax exemptions gotta go.
That's good.
I'm gonna be. Just wanted to try that out a little bit.
See, we changed up.
IRS.
IRS. IRS.
job, guys.
Sure, yeah.
The IRS got us irate.
Irate about us. We are irate about us.
And hey, if anybody has more ideas for good Scientology chants, feel free to drop them in the comments.
Yeah, so next week, this time, guys, be here, be amazingly square and fantastic hair. But get here, be here. It's 11 a.m. to 4, and this is the main last one. So let's do something good, fun. Wear a bunch of goldenrod. Put your money signs in that Scientology sign that you're making. Revoke Scientology money tax exempt status, because that is a major power that you're to get away with everything that you know.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It is what it is. But just keep your eye open because I'm going to be switching. Right?
Okay, do that and make sure it's publicized.
Yeah, everybody will say follow this new channel.
I put 1 to 3 on the thing, so
Okay.
folks are starting to wrap up.
And I'm going to be at Big Blue after this, and Jacob Parkey's doing an interview with DOA.
Yeah, that's
That'll
right.
be really dope. So I'm going to be back in the Blue neighborhood. Everybody say bye to Serge.
Bye,
Literally,
guys.
Serge. We'll see you tomorrow at the show.
Be there.
I love you. Mwah.
Love you, baby.
Love you. Everybody
Bye,
say
guys.
bye to Michael.
Cheers.
Sir.
Bye, guys.
Ciao. You guys are
Bye.
amazing.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Audit. Everyone's here in spirit. Everybody counts. Everybody counts.
Be happy. Take care.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on that. Thank you guys for listening, and as you see, more and more people showing up. This lady drove all the way from Orange County to meet us and ask us questions, and that's so great that people are doing that, to be honest. It's so great that people are questioning and getting more info.
Uploading this is that in there. I didn't put that in there.
What's 56?
It's like you're this way.
It's a 56-second thing. Why is it 56?
I don't know.
How far from Scientology building in LA is the IRS office? Well, we're here in downtown, you guys, so it's probably like a good 10 miles from Blue Building, I would say. Thank you, Brooke. I really appreciate it. Look, Scientology. The barbed wire of Scientology. Barbed wire that they use to keep us inside. art installation. Yeah.
Safety rescue.
Department of Police Department, City of Los Angeles Police Department. Great. Time to mow the lawn, LAPD. Look at all this overgrown stuff. It's very easy for snakes to be all around there when you don't cut the grass. We have to go to the other side, baby. We're on the other side. We're on this side. Some LA architecture for y'all. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much to have joined us this afternoon on this IRS protest. The next one is on the 24th. I think it's the 24th. Marina's on the 24th, right? So yeah, it's gonna be the next one, and then there's gonna be a next one, and a next one, and a next one. So thank you guys again for joining us all, and we will see you all very, very soon.